When the future of your career is on the line, nearly all the questions you're asked during an interview could be classified as difficult. You'll find several lessons in this module that include some of the standard questions you can expect to encounter along your journey to that perfect next position. In this lesson, we'll tackle those that don't fit elsewhere and that can truly be considered challenging, no matter how experienced or confident you are. The goal when reviewing these questions is to familiarize yourself with them before your interview and start to formulate potential answers. Refer to the lesson on using storytelling in interviews for the best approach, since stories always sell better than a simple, curt answer. Let's start with perhaps the most challenging question job seekers dread, the question of salary. This is such a big question that we have an entire lesson devoted to it. You can find that in the Getting the Job course. Sometimes the job description includes a pay range, making the answer to this question easy. Also, some companies will tell you the salary range in the initial phone screening, mostly because they don't want to waste your time or theirs if it is not a match. If, however, you aren't aware what the range is for this position, when asked point blank, it's hard to not provide an answer. There are a few ways you can go with your answer. 1. Provide a number. 2. Turn the question back on them. What is your budget for this role? Or do your best to evade it. 3. Answer thoughtfully in a way that tells the interviewer you're there for more than just money. To keep the conversation open and not jump into a salary negotiation too quickly, tactic number 3 is probably your best option. Here's a sample response. You could also tell them what you're currently making, if you're comfortable doing so. Instead of giving a hard number for this question, provide a salary range. Make the low number something that still works for you, with the high number higher than your ideal, knowing that you'll probably get an offer that's somewhere in the middle. The best way to determine your personal salary range is by looking at your budget and identifying the minimum amount you need to earn, and then padding that 5 to 15%. That will be your low number. Add $20,000 to $50,000 for your high number. As an example, if you need to make $100,000 minimum to maintain your lifestyle, your range could be $110,000 to $150,000. Obviously, adjust accordingly for your needs and take into consideration the salary ranges in your area. Don't ever shortchange yourself. It's always best to aim high and negotiate down. The internet is a great way to research pay ranges for the position for which you are interviewing. Try salary.com, which will provide a range that's appropriate for your title and location. You can use that as a basis and a way to further negotiate salary and benefits if necessary. For remote positions, look at the location of the company in comparison with your location. A company in Boise, Idaho might not pay what you need to make in New York City, so take that into consideration as well. Most employers want to know why you want to leave your current role, so expect to be asked this question at some point. Tread lightly here, especially if you have a personality conflict with your boss or don't like the direction your company is heading. It's always best to be honest, but in some cases you may need to spin the real story to not speak poorly of your current management or employer. Never, under any circumstance, should you complain about your current position. Instead, look toward the future. Potential answers here might include, I'm looking for an opportunity to move up and add to my responsibilities, which I believe can happen with ABC Company. I am always seeking new challenges and to expand my knowledge base, which is why I'm currently looking for a new position. Or, although I've loved my time at my current company, I'm ready for a new adventure. When you focus on the company where you're interviewing instead of the company you're looking to leave, the answer feels more positive and puts the weight on how excited you are about this opportunity. Do you have employment gaps on your resume? While some employers won't be concerned about them, especially if they were a long time ago or happened during an economic downturn, others may have questions. These can range from why you weren't working to what you were doing during that time. As with any other questions you need to answer, the best approach is to stay as close to the truth as possible, always focusing on the positives. If you volunteered or took classes when you weren't working, talk about that. You could say, I was excited to have some time off to explore interests I've had. During those months, I took a course at the community college and volunteered with the SPCA. Employment gaps due to economic issues are easily explained. Try saying something like, the company I was working with laid off several employees during the pandemic lockdowns, so I found myself without a job. During that time, I focused on helping my children with their schooling when they weren't going to class in person. When time off was because of a personal health issue, strive to minimize or downplay that by saying, due to some health issues, I had to take time off to focus on them. However, I'm now past those challenges, healthy, and eager to get to work at ABC Company. If this topic isn't brought up by your interview committee, don't address it. Assume that it's not an issue for them. Many positions are stressful, and it makes sense that an employer will want to know how you might respond when projects pile up. The best answers center around exercise, time with family, or any hobbies you might have. Just remember to avoid politics and religion here, as well as anything that might offend your interviewer. This might not sound like one of the most difficult questions, but if you're not prepared for it, you may be at a loss for words. Employers ask this to determine how you think others see you, and it can even be a way for them to gain insight into your strengths and weaknesses without asking about them directly. The best advice here is to share a mix of the positive and not so great traits you believe others see in you. You may also really know what they think about you from performance reviews and other feedback you've received. Err on the side of good things, of course, and only throw in negative adjectives that you are improving in yourself. See the written lesson for an idea of how to answer this question. This question helps an employer know what you're looking for in a new role. Do you prefer to stay busy? Like to change directions to work on multiple projects? Prefer to work in teams or by yourself? To successfully navigate this question, refer to the job description. You are interviewing for a specific position, and the description probably alluded to some of the ways you will be spending your day if you're hired. Stick to those components, adding in snippets that highlight what's important to you as well. There are several difficult interview questions you can be asked along your journey to secure a job offer, and this is one of those that may not seem challenging, but it may not seem applicable either. Some interviewers ask these types of questions to learn more about you in a way they can't by asking typical questions. Other odd questions you might be asked include, if you could have lunch with anyone living or dead, who would it be and why? What's your favorite board game? What book are you reading currently? If you stacked up pennies, how many would be needed to reach the height of the Empire State Building? Some of these may seem easier than others, especially if you're asked a math question and you're not a math person. All provide a glimpse of who you are as a person and how your brain works. Can you think on your feet? That's really what an employer is looking to determine here. If appropriate, humor can alleviate some of these more difficult interview questions. There's no doubt that you'll be asked a wide variety of questions in your quest for a new job. Some are straightforward and easy to address, while others may have you wondering why they're being asked at all. To successfully navigate difficult interview questions, prepare stories to share with the committee that are engaging and answer these types of questions. Stay as close to the truth as possible, putting a little gloss on stories that aren't quite as flattering. Be thoughtful, humble, and sprinkle in humor as appropriate. And when it comes to the question about salary, always provide a range that meets your needs and the norms in the industry and the region where you're planning to work. You'll soon be gliding through these questions and on your way to your dream job.